Yeah, I was talking to Q a little bit in between some of the periods. Just his understanding of the defense now, being a year in, having a full year of experience, and then kind of understanding what offenses are trying to do, attacking the defense that they play. So I think he's done a great job. He obviously was phenomenal last year for them. I'm looking forward to seeing how he does this year.
How are you coming along with the hamstring, and where are you at, and what's the outlook?
Yeah, I feel like I'm turning the corner a little bit this week, which is really positive. I was able to run a little bit more yesterday, so I'm getting there. Just taking a day at a time. Obviously it's extremely frustrating. I'm only be able to get like 7-on-7 lately and some 1-on-1s, but just focus on trying to take advantage of those as much as I can.
Do you feel like next week you should be able to, knock on wood, be able to get out there?
I can't say that yet. It'll be close.
Have they told you, hey, anything can still happen, and keep your head in this competition because it's not over yet? Is that the narrative?
It was never even mentioned. I think we're all just going a day at a time. Going through camp. They'll make that decision whenever they want to make that decision. But I'm just trying to put my best foot forward on the reps that I do get right now.
How did it feel being back here?
It was great. You have a special season like that. You kind of build a bond with people for life. So being able to see everyone that I played with last year, coaches, trainers. I went in the cafeteria and saw all the people back there, and you got to give some hugs. So it was great. It holds a special place in my heart for that year. Really glad we were back here for this camp to go see everybody.
We haven't had a chance to talk to you really since the Super Bowl. What did it mean to you to be out there late in that game?
Yeah, it was awesome. The 5-year-old in me would have been going crazy. Back in the day. I remember watching Donovan McNabb. All those old days when he was making his runs, and to be able to be a part of that team was awesome. Having my parents there, my family, my wife. It was really cool.
You were obviously a big part of that quarterback room last year, especially with Terry McCain. What have you noticed in his development? Do you still talk to him? Just how's the relationship?
Yeah, we just talked a little bit yesterday and today. I think the system, I don't know if it's changing or a little different. Just kind of talking through some of those things, talking again about our defense that he was playing out there today. Tanner's an awesome guy, man. I know he's going to do a great job for them. He's prepared for it. He's a true pro, goes about his business the right way, so really happy for him.
Kenny, how bizarre is it, or I don't even know if that's the right word, but after you get injured, then Dylan gets injured, now Shador is injured, and just this whole four-way quarterback competition took these unexpected twists.
Yeah, it's a wild game. It's football. Everyone. I got my own problems to worry about. I'm just focused on my recovery. You never want to see anyone go down. We all want to be out there competing, so it's a tough deal. But I know each guy's trying to get back out there and be 100%.
How has, Kenny, I don't know if frustration is the right word, but I know you think you've mentioned it a couple of times. So just managing that part of dealing with the soccer.
Yeah, I try to give myself 24 hours to be as angry as I could be, and then just turn the page. Every day, doing as much as I can. It truly is a 24/7 grind to try to get back 100%. So I'm doing absolutely everything I can. Hopefully I can push it to get out there. I want to be smart, but at the same time I want to be out there competing. So you're kind of like walking that fine line.
I know I think you talked about this back in the offseason, but just the experiences you had last year in Philly, what ways have you brought that to this team, this locker room, this quarterback?
Yeah, I think I talked to Tommy a lot about what we did last year, and I think he does a great job of looking at what other teams do, what other systems and concepts have been really successful for other teams. And he asked me a lot. He'll be like, what were your favorite 5 from Philly, favorite 5 from Pittsburgh? I'm sure he's done the same with Joe. He's just always looking to make the system better and put our guys in the best places to succeed. So, I think we go back and forth on a lot of the things that we did. We pull up tape. We kind of go through it that way. So we have a quarterback room with a lot of knowledge and experience. With Joe and Deshaun's played a lot of football too. So, I try to add as much as I can. So I think that's probably the main way.
What were you really excited about in terms of your progress in those first 4 practices? It seemed like you were really coming along there.
Yeah, I felt, I think I touched on it before, the 5 weeks at home I really just dedicated to studying the playbook and going through it on the field. Training hard, being in the best shape that I felt like I have been in my life for the competition. So I came back ready to go. Obviously the injury is unfortunate, but I feel like I'm keeping that same thing in the 7-on-7 reps that I get. Just trying to be as accurate as I can be, make the right read, and move on to the next play. So that's really my mindset right now.
Kenny, I'm sorry if they asked you this. I just walked in. But you know this Eagles defense better than anybody on the team. From your vantage point, watching watching the offense, your offense, these 2 days? How do you think they did overall?
I thought they did a great job. I thought, there's positives, there's negatives. There's always going to be that. We definitely want to clean up the pre-snap stuff. Something the coaches are harping on, that we need to get cleaned up as an offense. But I thought it was a good battle for both days. I think there was highs on both sides. There were some lows on both sides. But the competitiveness, the want-to was there. I really liked the way we competed. Guys were going at it, so it was a positive.
Especially in a setting like this, how much are you staying involved in the conversation with the other quarterbacks?
Heavily. Yeah, as heavily as I can be, because I'm not getting those reps. I kind of stand in the back and go through the checks, go through the cadence, trying to steal as much as I can. And then when those guys come off, I try to help them out too, tell them what I saw, ask them what they saw, and kind of talk through the play. Then you have the meetings again to go over that and kind of have that open dialogue. So it's been good from that standpoint.
I know you have your own issues to deal with, but did Shador, seek you out a little bit just for any kind of consolation, or did you have any words of advice from him for the oblique thing that happened yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, we're in the training room together and we just talk about it. I mean, he's awesome. He's got a great attitude about it. He'll be back out there, as soon as he can be, just like I can. So I really like his attitude and how he's going about his business.
Kenny, Harold Fan had a big day today, especially he had a drop early, kind of came back from it. How have you seen him progress, and just having two big targets like him and Njoku, how does that help?
Yeah, I think we have an unbelievable tight end room, obviously, with Dave. Everyone knows what he can do. But Harold's really stepped up. I'm really impressed with the intensity that he's such a quiet guy. And then he goes in there and really competes hard, and he'll take on a Mike Backer and run plays, and a DM one-on-one. He'll take them on with no problem, and then go out there and run great routes. So I'm really impressed with Harold and what I think he can bring to this team, if he stays on the track that he's on right now.
Very good.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Okay, I thought yesterday was really, really good work by both teams. I appreciate how Nick operates around here, and I think both teams understood that it was time to get some good work in, and it was hot and it was hard, so I thought it was very beneficial to both sides. And then today, more of the same. Will be a shorter practice by design, a few less team periods, no one-on-ones today, but an important day nonetheless. We will do kickoff and kickoff return as well as field goal for Tony. But looking forward to a good day's work, and with that, I'll take any questions.
Can you tell us about Shador, what happened with the oblique strain and what the outlook is like for him?
Yeah, felt it early, I think warming up, and then felt it throughout individuals, so took a look at it. If it's a right guard, you can play through that. When it's a quarterback, you kind of need that muscle to throw. So unfortunately, going to put him down for a little bit here. We'll treat it day to day and see how he responds, but want to be smart because he's a thrower, so you can't push that thing.
It's such a critical point in your evaluation of each of these quarterbacks. How does it affect your evaluation of the quarterbacks?
Yeah, listen, injuries stink for all these guys. They don't want to miss a rep for any reason, Tony, but there's a way to continue to prepare, continue to get better, even when you're not getting those reps because of injury.
Is it an oblique? I mean, a lot like a hamstring. Is that one of those injuries that, it gets a little tricky?
I think it's just with throwers and pitchers and guys that torque and twist their body. You got to be really careful.
Is the length of the rehab just like rest, or is he getting treatment for like rhythm?
Both, yeah, getting treatment.
And he'll be out there today?
He'll be out here today, yes.
Does this mean that Dylan will start the game on Saturday?
We got to see how he does today and gets through. So not ready to say for sure.
What about Pickett today?
He will be limited, yes.
And if Dylan doesn't start, your only other option then is for Tyler to start the game, right?
We'll work through all those things. Obviously, Snoop knows exactly what to do, how to do it, so is ready to roll. We'll see who else is available, Mary Kay, but got to get through today before I know that.
Any chance you would play Flacco in an emergency
No.
situation?
So could it be a
Can you rule out
situation?
Shador for this game? Because yesterday you guys said it was unlikely he'll play Saturday, but it sounds
I'll stay with unlikely. I think that's a good word by Peter. But, yeah, he's day-to-day, so what's today, Thursday? So unlikely.
So could it be a situation where Tyler might play the whole game if it comes to that?
Everything's on the table. We'll see.
Kevin, in reviewing the practice of the offense, was it a difficult day for the offense? There was a lot of drop passes.
We had, for whatever reason, we had the most drop passes we've had all of camp, so that was unusual. I thought.
What do you attribute that to?
Great question. It was some randomness. Obviously it was hot. You're going against a good football team. Could be really anything, but expect the guys to bounce back. I thought the offense had some, when you're going up against a really good defense, particularly that front, not to take anything away from their back end, but their front is a very, very large, powerful front. I thought the guys had their moments, and then the Philly defense had their moments. But that's kind of what you do in these settings. Very rarely is it one side. Both sides are kind of taking body blows, if you will.
I mean, that front, was that a big challenge? The Philly front, was that a big challenge for the run game to try to get some looks you guys?
Yeah, you're not, versus this team, you're not just going to line them up and have a simple run game and say, hey, we're going to beat you. You have to find ways to maximize via scheme, via motion, via a variety of things because they're just very stout.
Kevin, I seem to remember 2 years ago you did this, and it looked like you were doing it again yesterday. It seemed like a lot of mixing and matching, even when it was you'd have, the ones guards and Joel, Wyatt, and you're like the backup tackles. It seemed like mixing a lot of those things during the team period. Maybe
a little bit, Chris. Obviously, there's guys that you're always want to make sure that they're getting the right amount of work. There's other guys that you just want to see in there, those type of things. So, yeah, I think you mix and match. Thinking ahead to Saturday, there will be it's a very similar plan that we had last week. Now, there will be some guys that play Saturday that didn't play last week. There were some guys that played last week that don't play Saturday. It's really based on what each player needs to get ready for the season.
What about your D-line and the pressure that you guys were able to create when you watched that back?
Yeah, I thought, again, had our moments as well as they did. That's a very good offensive line. They're schemed up really well. Quarterback does a great job moving in the pocket, but I thought our guys competed really well.
Kevin, if Dylan is able to start Saturday, just what can you say about the work that he's put in and getting a lot of first-team reps over the course of the last 4 weeks or so?
Yeah, continues to keep the focus on one day at a time and taking what comes to him. Obviously, anytime you miss reps due to injury, you got to make sure you're staying as sharp as you can, and I think he's done a nice job of that in meetings.
If he gets through today and recovers fine, you see him playing 3 quarters like Shador did?
Hard to say, Tony. Just really going to be based on his health.
Kevin, it seemed like there were some situations going back to some of the drops and stuff where the Philly DBs were able to kind of rip the ball out of your guys' hands. Is that just something they're good at? Was that a point of emphasis kind of last night when you went back and watched?
I think that 27 is a good corner for them. He had one in particular that he played well on the ball. Now on the other side, our number 21 had a good play on the ball. So I think it works both ways with defensive backs. Those one-on-one drills, speaking as a former defensive back, they are weighted heavily towards the offense. You should be able to get open and catch the ball. But when at the moment of truth at the catch, the defender still has the opportunity to punch that thing out.
Joe was saying yesterday how valuable it is to go against the number 1 defense, the Super Bowl champs, and what you can learn about yourself as an offense. What do you feel like these guys may have learned about themselves?
Yeah, it's interesting, Mary Kay. We've talked a lot about that. I think training camp in of itself, you're finding out about yourself, and that's personnel-wise, that's schematically what guys can and can't do. So there were a number of times we put players in positions yesterday to see what it looked like and see if they can handle X, Y, or Z. And I thought for the most part we found out some guys are going to be capable of doing some things for us.
Kevin, it seems like in these joint practices, since you've been head coach, there might be one guy who emerges, not one of your regulars either. I go back to MJ as a rookie and other guys. Miles Harden, a couple plays yesterday, filling in for Greg Newsom. I'm wondering, on tape, did it look like he had a pretty good day?
He did. He had a good day. Miles is very, very competitive, and a competitive kid, strong. He needs to keep on a progression, which is every day trying to get better, and I think he's got the right attitude.
Yeah, it seems like your guys used some pre-snap motion this year. Going a little smoother than it did last year. There's a lot of pre-snap stuff on training camp and all that.
Right.
How much is that a point of emphasis for you guys that you guys have talked through and kind of get back to your system? And
a major point of emphasis. Both parts of it, both the utilization of it and also doing it correctly. If you just line up in a static formation, I just think it's easier on the defense. It's also easier on the offense because you're not going to get penalties, but you have to utilize that to your advantage. And if you're going to do that, you have to be great with your shifts and motions. It's been a very, very, very big point of emphasis for our offense.
Good.
Okay, thank you guys. Thanks.